It was a low-key day today for President-elect Joe Biden. We're not expecting any sort of major announcements from him until after the holiday weekend. As for President Trump, he acknowledged for the first time that time is not on his side, and he suffered another legal setback, this time in Pennsylvania.
How are you all feeling?
For real.
It's crazy. It's crazy what's happening.
After spending part of his Thanksgiving holiday calling frontline healthcare workers with wife Jill,
God willing, next Thanksgiving will be very different, hopefully.
It was a quiet Friday after Thanksgiving for President-elect Biden. There were no major announcements and only a few posts on social media, including a tweet about Native American Heritage Day. President Trump, on the other hand, was at a golf course for the 306th time while in office. Online, he continued reiterating his unfounded conspiracies about widespread election fraud, as he did last night when he finally took questions for the first time since Biden was projected to be the winner of the election. It came after a Thanksgiving address, and he was pressed about if he would leave the White House should the Electoral College vote for Biden.
Certainly I will. Certainly I will. And you know that. But I think that there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th of January. A lot of things.
In fact, a lot of things are happening, but few, if any, show signs of changing the results. Recounts in Wisconsin and Georgia are well underway. Biden will soon be declared the winner in those states again. Earlier this week, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Nevada certified election wins for Biden, and next week, Arizona and Wisconsin are set to do the same. Legally, all challenges to election results must be settled by December 8th to allow the Electoral College to vote December 14th. Trump does have a few lawsuits pending in almost all swing states, but the majority of his cases have been tossed out, including a scathing rejection today by the Third Circuit Court of Appeals in Pennsylvania.
Because time isn't on our side. Everything else is on our side. Facts are on our side. This was a massive fraud.
Once again, there's been no evidence of fraud. A court has not yet to find evidence of fraud, and even in most of Trump's cases, he doesn't even allege fraud. The president will be in Georgia this weekend to support the Republican Senate candidates in the two special elections that will decide the balance of power in the Senate. In Brooklyn, Henry Rossoff, Pix 11 News.
All right, so ahead tonight, holiday scam warnings to talk about.
Yeah, the NYPD telling New Yorkers that no matter where you shop, you could be a target. Well, you need to know as you go out or go online.
As Black Friday sales wind down, Small Business Saturday is now upon us, and this year it's more important than ever to support a local mom and pop. I'm Andrew Ramos, and I have that story coming up.
Watching the Pix 11 News at 5 with Tamsin Fidel, Corey Chambers, and Mr. G with your weapon. We're New York's very own.
Well, as Black Friday sales wind down, all eyes will be on Small Business Saturday.
Yeah, this year the day comes at a really critical time, especially for those businesses trying to cope with the fallout of the pandemic economically.
Yeah, Andrew Ramos has a story from Hoboken.
For 25 years, clients have trusted Tito Cuarquina with their most valuable possessions. The self-taught framer who owns Mile Square Frame on Washington Street in Hoboken is a one-man operation. From the wood paneling to the mat, he does it all. And it's small niche businesses like his that have been hit the hardest since the beginning of the pandemic. Despite the obstacles, his passion still there.
We are loved to do our job. Otherwise, if you don't love it to do something, you just clean it out and then you leave.
This year's Small Business Saturday, the day where consumers are encouraged to shop local, is more vital than ever. Hit with shutdowns and aggressive restrictions, many small business owners have been dealt unprecedented challenges, some forced to shut down. Nearly 3,000 in New York City alone. With federal assistance looming, the community right now is a critical lifeline.
They need our support. About 67 cents on every dollar you spend with a small business stays in that local community. So we're not just talking about that particular business.
As an incentive, many businesses are offering special discounts for new customers this weekend. Even if you don't have the time to sit and dine, buying a gift certificate from your favorite restaurant could provide much needed relief.
At the end of the day, if you live in a neighborhood and you can support someone in that neighborhood,
It's to all our benefit.
Now, Pix 11 has been spotlighting small business for the past few months. If you're looking for some suggestions on who to support this weekend, we have you covered. Head over to our website, pix11.com/open. In Hoboken, I'm Andrew Ramos, Pix 11 News.
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic claiming another yearly tradition, SantaCon has been canceled this year. The organizers making that announcement on the official website, scrapping the bar crawl for charity. Part of the announcement said, remain home and stay on the good list. We have to socially distance and wear a mask. While this may be disappointing news for some, others will be pretty pleased, as some of the previous SantaCons have had a few complaints about alcohol-fueled people dressed in Santa suits in big snowball fights like that one. That's a classic one now. Right?
that is a Christmas classic, isn't it?
It is something.
That is. Okay. Well, it's another chapter for a tradition that's 119 years old. Nordstrom's flagship store in Manhattan unveiling its 2020 holiday decorations today. 100 crew members worked overnight since Wednesday to make all the magic happen, and they had a lot of work to do.
Got 367,000 square feet to decorate, and so we've got over 150 Christmas trees. There's 50 miles of twinkling lights in here. There's no more important year than this year to really amplify what we do for the holidays.
Families are also invited to the Santa Snow Show and the magical snowfall every day at 2 and 6 p.m. Santa Claus will also be available to meet with children with social distancing measures in place.
Things are happening just a little bit different. All right, let's go ahead and send things over to Mr. G. What a beautiful day today. Hi, G.
Yeah, honey of a day, wasn't it? And it got better and better as it progressed. And tomorrow, more of the same into the back half of the weekend. So let's get at the numbers. 63, 64 degrees in Newark, Bridgeport in at 61 degrees. My man Cruz on the control, showing us 58, 56%. Westerly at 8 miles per hour. It's the greatest city in the world. For tomorrow, a lot of sun again. Good start to the weekend. We're going to be in the mid-50s. The normal should be 49 degrees. We're still 4.6 degrees above the norm as we begin to wind down and close out this month. The final weekend of the month is again this weekend, and December 1st starts on Tuesday. We'll kick southwesterly. Here's the next change maker across Mississippi and Alabama, and eventually gets into Georgia, and that storm will begin to progress in our direction. You can see it on the futurecast. First of all, it looks clear here, but then you see high thin clouds developing. Here comes the rain across the backbone of the Appalachians. This goes west. That means rain. Maybe on the extreme backside west of Cleveland, they'll get some snow, but it's a rain event for us. You can see it, and you can see that pockets of that rain could be moderate, most of it on Monday, and figure about an inch of rain in the bucket. Cleveland, you'll get into a couple of good snow showers, if not a period of light snow. But this is the European model, and this is the end of the event. It's a Monday morning, afternoon, night event, and then it quits. That's how we see it, all right? So for your Saturday, everybody outdoors if you can, in the park if possible, rollerblade, bike, whatever. 55 does it, 40. That's north and west of the city. Then on Sunday, golden sunshine and deep blue skies. Temps are going to be in the mid-50s. I got a 7-day forecast that's teasing still another storm the following weekend as we look ahead. We'll have it later on.
All right, G, we'll see in a little bit. Thank you. Well, Iran's top nuclear scientist was shot to death in his car this morning. Iranian officials say that the vehicle was ambushed with explosives and gunfire right outside the capital. The scientist is believed to be responsible for developing the country's nuclear program. No one has claimed responsibility for the assassination. However, the Iranian government saying that Israel and the U.S. were behind the attack and is vowing retaliation for the killing.
We've learned the identity of the people who were killed in that deadly Thanksgiving Day crash on the Southern State Parkway. Police say Patricia Ramkissoon of Bayshore and Elliot Bryant of Brooklyn were killed when the car they were in collided with another vehicle. Both victims were 23 years old. 2 others were injured in the crash near Hempstead last night. Now, it happened in an area of the parkway that's been considered for safety modifications. Long Island lawmakers say the 25-mile stretch of road has an outdated design that is putting drivers at risk.
I mean, look, it's just too much traffic in too little of a space with too many turns. And it was designed for leisurely driving out to the country 100 years ago. We're a much different world now, and we need to improve the road to match the world we're in now.
State Department of Transportation will announce the results of the review next year.
Well, tomorrow there will be history in the Catholic Church. For the first time ever, there will be an African-American cardinal. The Archbishop of Washington, D.C., Wilton Gregory, will be one of 13 men installed into the College of Cardinals in a mass tomorrow at the Vatican. Pope Francis saying that he is keeping an eye on racial dynamics here in the U.S. as he skipped over several other archbishops to promote Gregory. He did not grow up as Catholic, but converted after going to school. Archbishop Gregory has been in quarantine in a Vatican guest house as he awaits his historic promotion.
I've been living in Santa Marta now for almost 7 days and haven't been able to leave the room. I'm observing the Vatican requirements for 10 days quarantine.
All right. Well, Archbishop Gregory says he wants to build a strong relationship with President-elect Joe Biden, who will be the country's second Catholic president.
President Trump says coronavirus vaccine will be distributed next week. But health officials are not on board with that timeline. More on the story next.
And we'll tell you where coronavirus cases are forcing officials to postpone Black Friday sales until next week. The coronavirus pandemic continuing to dominate the U.S. In the last hour, the country hit 13 million cases. Hospitalizations hitting a new high for the 17th day in a row.
As the U.S. surpasses 13 million cases, President Trump says vaccine deliveries will start next week.
But those in the medical community say not so fast. Craig Treadway joining us tonight with the very latest on the race to a vaccine. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Tamsin and Corey. You're right. You know, the president raising a few eyebrows on Thanksgiving, giving the impression that a vaccine is not just on the way, but will be going out next week. Health experts, however, say he may be raising public expectations by jumping the gun and that it will still be some time before the general public would be able to get a shot. On a Thanksgiving call with the troops, the president delivering welcome and unexpected news.
The vaccines are being delivered literally. It'll start next week and the week after. And it'll hit the frontline workers and seniors and doctors, nurses, a lot of people.
Unexpected, since the leading candidate, Pfizer, is so far the only manufacturer seeking emergency use authorization for its COVID-19 vaccine. And the FDA review of that authorization request isn't until December 10th. Key word there, review.
That's thousands of pages of data that they have to review between now and then in advance of that meeting. So this is really quite a tedious, long process that's starting to get underway. And while they will be trying to do that as efficiently as possible, mid to late December is really the earliest that this could get done by.
NYU Langone infectious disease physician Celine Gounder is on President-elect Joe Biden's COVID-19 advisory board, a task force charged with putting together the president-elect's plan to combat the pandemic, plans that have thus far not had the benefit of seeing the Trump administration's coronavirus blueprint.
I can't see that the first group of people, which will be those frontline healthcare workers, getting vaccine before the new year.
Dr. Anthony Santella is a professor of public health at Hofstra University.
And then you're talking about the people who have underlying health conditions as the second group, and then probably young children and people who work in K-12 education, childcare workers. Then maybe people who have, like work in colleges and public transportation, et cetera. And then the last group will be the American public.
My guess is the general public will have access sometime in the late spring, early summer.
Dr. Jessica Justman is an infectious disease expert with Columbia University Medical Center. She says development of a vaccine and emergency approval is one thing, but the logistics in getting it to where it's needed when it's available is another.
We need to be patient and let the logistics experts figure out how to get these vaccines, some of which, like Pfizer and Moderna, require ultra cold freezers. And not every part of the U.S. has an ultra cold freezer.
The president yesterday more concerned with who gets the credit for the vaccine, speaking of Joe Biden.
Don't let him take credit. for the vaccines, because the vaccines were me, and I pushed people harder than they've ever been pushed before.
Politicians of either political party are not the ones that develop vaccines. Vaccines are developed by scientists and doctors and public health workers. So this is really not a win for either political party.
Now, CNN reporting tonight that the CDC's Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices has scheduled an emergency meeting for Tuesday to vote on the very first people to get a coronavirus vaccine once one gets emergency authorization. So we're still a ways off, Damson and Corey.
All right, Craig, thank you so much for the update tonight.
Yeah. Well, ahead tonight, an entire family of 7 infected with coronavirus.
We have to take this serious, because we're already dealing with all the other problems that we have to deal with being black in this country.
Now they're speaking out to warn other African Americans about the dangers and what put them at risk.
Plus, holiday shopping scammers in the city. The NYPD is putting New Yorkers on alert. What you need to look out for ahead.
You're watching the Pix 11 News at 5.
A warning for New Yorkers tonight. Holiday shopping scammers are not only targeting you in stores, but also online, looking for whatever money they can get. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Corey Chambers.
And I'm Tamsin Fidel. Well, this Black Friday, people are hitting the stores and the web to find good deals out there, but so are the scammers. The NYPD says you could become a victim and not even know it until it's too late.
Yeah, Nicole Johnson spoke to police about what you should look out for.
The Black Friday experience is very different amid the pandemic. No more crowds storming stores for deals. Retailers say 7 out of 10 New Yorkers are shopping online. Either way, where there is money, scammers will follow.
You just have to be careful.
Head of the NYPD's Crime Prevention Division, Deputy Inspector Jessica Corey, tells Pix 11 thieves continue to get better at tricking people out of their money.
Scammers are planting false phone numbers for major corporations on the internet. People are then calling those numbers and they're getting scammed out of money.
It's best to use credit cards instead of debit cards. Be aware of fake websites and don't send money to strangers. That's not all. Inspector Corey says well-known online retailers, including Amazon, are victims of fraud too. Their names are being used to gain your trust.
We're having a lot of scams involving Amazon, where people are being told there's something wrong with your account, and in order to fix it, you have to send money.
Then there's fake customer service reps or tech support to look out for.
You're asked to download something from the person you're speaking to fix your computer, to do like a tech support type of thing, and then they're actually getting information and money from you in that way, or transferring funds out of bank accounts.
Completing your online shopping waiting for shipping does not mean you're in the clear. Packages are being taken as well. Some crooks are bold, like this man in Park Slope talking to a UPS worker, then the unexpected swipe. Others are just walking into apartment buildings and leaving with package in hand.
It's good to maybe have a lockbox that the package can be delivered to. You can make sure the packages are going to be delivered when you're home. If you're not going to be home, have them delivered to a trusted friend or neighbor.
For shoppers who rather get deals in person, there's always this to remember.
We still have instances where people are shopping and they leave their bags, pocketbooks, any kind of backpack in a cart as they're shopping, and they forget that it's there and somebody takes it out.
To stay protected this holiday season, stay vigilant and use common sense. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. For more tips on what you should look out for, just go to our website at pix11.com. In Elmhurst, Queens, Nicole Johnson, Pix 11 News.
Certainly good advice and good reminders. Well, the pandemic changing many people's shopping plans for Black Friday and the rest of the holiday season. Health officials have been saying for a while to stay away from crowds, and it looks like many will do so. According to a new poll, 57% of consumers say they're feeling anxious about shopping in stores because of COVID-19. 74% say they will shop online during Thanksgiving week, up from 62% last year. Only 54% saying they plan to shop in brick and mortar stores today.
Well, COVID-19 may have changed the way we celebrate Thanksgiving, but it has not stopped shoppers from looking for a good deal. In Florida, some shoppers spent more than 24 hours camping out in front of a GameStop. I think you know what they were after. The company offering in-store only deals for the new PlayStation 5. Across the country, you saw malls and stores reinforcing COVID regulations, and also, look, even the mannequins wearing masks. Yeah, in Wisconsin, the mannequins spaced out 6 feet apart because they want people to be spaced out as well. Even with fewer people, the National Retail Federation estimates 3 to 5% of an increase in holiday shopping this year, if you can believe that.
It's good reminders, though, because it becomes very normal, and then when it's not that way, you really notice it. Okay, well, if you are mailing holiday gifts this year, the Postal Service is recommending you send them out pretty early. The week of December 14th through the 21st expected to be the peak this year for mailing, shipping, and delivery. With more online shopping expected than ever before, the USPS is expanding Sunday deliveries now in high package volume locations. So if you're sending first-class mail, the deadline to ship December the 18th. Starting December the 19th, it's recommended you use priority mail so your packages get there.
Well, despite the pandemic, red kettles can still be found outside of stores and malls, but the campaign is making some adjustments. Bell ringers are required to wear masks and be socially distant. There's also now a QR code for people that you can scan it if you don't want to touch the kettles. It will bring you to an online donation form instead. The organization has also created the Red Kettle Challenge. It encourages people to donate online and become virtual bell ringers.
Well, coronavirus attacks every member of one family, infecting 7 people and leaving a grandfather on a ventilator.
Yeah, tonight, the family sharing their journey to recovery and a warning they want other African-American families to hear.
Newark will be among the airports launching quarantine-free flights between the U.S. and Italy. The program allowing passengers who are negative in a nasal swab test before departure and a rapid test upon arrival to avoid self-isolation. The flights are only available to those who are allowed to travel to the country for essential work or for study reasons. The flights between Rome, Newark, JFK, and Atlanta are expected to begin next month. Well, as European countries also face a surge in COVID-19 cases, France is postponing Black Friday deals. Despite a second lockdown, companies like Amazon and major supermarket chains are still allowed to operate in the country, but that is taking a toll on smaller businesses as they have to remain closed. After facing pressure, the French government now declaring all special holiday deals can only be released after the end of the lockdown. The Christmas shopping kickoff now set for December the 4th.
Well, a woman was seriously injured in this fire in Massachusetts. Firefighters believe it was started when some